Yo, what up, Cellar Dwellers? This is the Overlord Dan, bringing you another installment in the Movie Sellers Month of Horrors. And tonight, we're going to talk about Friday the 13th, Part 2. We talked about Part 1 in September on Friday the 13th. I'm recording this on that same day, so this movie was watched on Friday the 13th, the way that I think that it was meant to be. So this movie starts where the last movie ended. And what they do is they go to that last scene from the first movie where the girl's fighting Jason's mother, Mrs. Voorhees, and chops off her head. She's sleeping and having, this like PTSD nightmare about it. And she wakes up all freaked out. And then Jason comes, fucking kills her. So the first movie is about Mrs. Voorhees getting revenge because she felt like her son died because of the negligence of the camp counselors. This movie is about Jason getting revenge on more camp counselors because they killed his mother. So it's all just a big fucking circle of revenge. So in this one, Camp Crystal Lake has been converted into a counselor training fucking specialty location. Why you would take a camp that has resulted in the death of like tons and tons of camp counselors and turn it into a counselor training location is beyond me. But maybe the sign fell off and they didn't realize that that's where they were. Who the hell knows? But that's what it is. And we get a lot more of the same shit that we got in the first movie. Just fucking counselors fucking each other and a killer coming and killing them. Except in this movie, it's very obviously Jason. About halfway through, we get a totally clear reveal of him. One thing we don't get yet is the traditional hockey mask that we're used to seeing. In this one, he's wearing like a burlap sack over his head, sort of like, Hills Have Eyes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that kind of vibe. It works well. It's scary, but it's not what you're used to seeing when you think of Jason and Friday the 13th. So maybe that will come in part three. I don't know. But anyway, I thought this movie was really fun. I thought it did a lot of things that worked really well. I thought Jason was scary, but interestingly enough, he didn't feel like this overwhelming big presence because he was kind of a bumbling idiot. Like he gets knocked over a bunch of times, he gets hurt, he gets stabbed. He like you hear him out of breath when he's running. So like you don't get this same kind of energy from him that you get like from Michael Myers in Halloween, where he just kind of slowly stalks you and like nothing affects him. It feels like he's just kind of this guy, who could be stopped, but never is. Um, so having said that, I'm gonna go through the categories here real quick, and each category gonna go thumbs up, thumbs down, or mediocre. Gore going mediocre. Not a lot of it, and this parts with it, it's superficial, blood, cuts. We don't get deep, we don't have guts, we don't have brains, It's there, but it's nothing special. Music, thumbs up. Not a super strong thumbs up like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1, but it works really well. A lot of dissonance, a lot of like minor stuff where it's like you just get that like ding ding, that really uncomfortable like tone that makes you feel unsettled, which lends itself well to the next category, which is ambiance, which also gets a thumbs up. I mean, fuck, you're in a cabin, you're in the woods, it's dark, it's raining. You can't set a better scene than that for a horror movie. It's perfect. Creativity. That's a thumbs down. It's essentially the same movie as the first movie, except for in the first movie, it's Jason's mother getting revenge for Jason's death. In this movie, it's Jason getting revenge for his mother's death. The counselors are all doing the same shit. They're getting killed off one by one while they're all fucking banging each other. You know, it works. It works well. It's a great movie, but it doesn't give us anything new except for Jason as a killer. Jump scares. That's going to be a mediocre. There aren't a lot. The few that there are work well. You think Jason's over here, but he like pops through the window or some shit like that. You think he's outside, but he falls down from above you. So there's a few, but not a lot. Um, and the lasting impact, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up because nobody goes to a cabin in the woods without thinking, at least in the back of their mind, this is kind of scary. And I think that at least part of that has to be attributed to Friday the 13th. And so for that reason, this movie gets a thumbs up on lasting impact. Overall, I give it a thumbs up. I thought it took what they did in the first movie and it did it all really well. You can tell that they're maturing in the way that they're making the movie. They're getting better at it. They know what works, they know what doesn't. One last thing that I wanted to mention was I really liked in the first movie, it ends on them panning over the water, and you think that Jason's going to pop up out of it, and he doesn't, and it leaves you feeling really uncomfortable and unsettled. In this one, it ends as zooming in on his mother's like decapitated head, and like you're confident her eyes are just going to pop open, but they don't, and that just leaves you feeling very, very unsettled. Like you need that payoff and you don't get it. So anyway, that's Friday the 13th part 2. Definitely check it out. Great movie, classic slasher horror. And we'll see you again tomorrow night. I don't know what to do with my hands. See you again tomorrow night with another installment of the Movie Sellers Month of Horrors.